Okay. Okay. Next question. Going a little further into, or could you go a little further into saving to file? As an example, anything that can be left out, things that can be increased, decreased, etc. That is a great question, sir. I will absolutely do that for you right now. I will absolutely do that for you right now. So let's say that you are just looking to do YouTube videos. You're not really interested in live streaming. You've got a YouTube channel. You'll be using Fraps or DxTory or other stuff, maybe even XSplit to do your local recording for a long time. OBS is a phenomenal way of doing local recording and being just as easy on your computer as it is for live streaming. Okay? If you are live streaming and recording at the same time, you're stuck recording locally at whatever you're live streaming at. You're not going to be able to set up different settings. You're just going to get the same thing. If you're just recording locally and not live streaming, you can change settings to whatever you want. You can increase the bit rate. You can do whatever you need to do there. So, in general, you don't really need to get, unless you're looking for a very specific... Let me go to my LAGTV recording. Unless you're looking for a very specific file size, you're worried about it, it doesn't really matter what you do here in terms of how high you jack the bitrate. One thing that I will say is that variable bitrate is better than constant bitrate when you're doing local recording. If you're not live streaming, take advantage of that. Okay? Use variable bitrate. Set the quality balance to 10. All right, if you can, your computer allows you to. Try not to go below 7. It gets a bit weird. Quality balance doesn't actually mean higher quality. It just means that it's making concessions for still video versus motion. Okay, but also the higher the quality, you get a good balance between the two anyway. It's okay. So shoot for 10 if you can for local recording. Your maximum bitrate here can be super high if you're not worried about things. If you know that your hard drive can record at that speed, you're okay. For instance, Jeff and I for LAGTV, we record at 1080p at 30 frames a second. I give it 18,000 kbs, 18 megabit a second for my audio, or for my video, sorry. Okay. This ensures that essentially there is very little difference between what we would be watching in game and the end video. It also gives YouTube lots of room to not mess with my video. Gives it lots of data, all right? So that when YouTube re-encodes it to their crappy friggin' settings, it'll be as good as it possibly can be. In the audio department, I still leave it at AAC, but I increase the bitrate to 192. I give it that bump up. Get that better microphone audio, get that better audio in general, okay? And that's my big thing, the big things you need to worry about. In broadcast settings, you set it, like I said before, to file output only. You don't need to mess around with anything else. You just choose your file path and you're off to the races. Set a stream end, start and end key if you so wish, like I have here. I'm not downscaling because I'm doing 1080p for this specific thing. So this, just like we discussed before. Same thing, pretty much everything else. Above normal, this is all looking the same. The only thing you're going to notice here is I have it set to faster instead of very fast. At the bitrate I'm using, I don't really need to use faster. But it just, because I know my computer can do it, I'm just giving it that extra bump to make it look as good as possible. Again, if you're using a super high bitrate like that, very fast is perfectly fine. Don't need to worry about doing faster at all. That's just me being me, right? That's me getting every last ounce out of my settings as I can. Very fast is fine. You'll notice that I don't need to worry about rate tolerance because we're not doing CBR. You'll notice that I'm not worried about doing any sort of fancy encoding. And the reason why I'm not worried about that necessarily is because I'm giving it such a huge bit rate. Okay? You could do advanced stuff if you so wish, if your computer can handle it, and it will, in some cases, make it look better. But for the simplicity of knowing that YouTube is just going to completely, it's going to stick its dick in it. It's going to get rid of all the hard work that you've done anyway, pretty much. Just live and let live. Let that custom X264 setting be. Don't need to worry about it. Everything else is fine. Like I said before, the one other thing that I will note here is that the keyframe interval does not need to be 2 because we're not live streaming to Twitch. So just set it to 0. The encoder will take over. It will inject keyframes wherever it sees fit, wherever it needs to be for that preset. Okay? So there you go. There's your answer to that. That's a great question. I'm glad that somebody asked that. All right, the next one comes from Greg. It says, "Hi Adam, longtime fan of LAGTV and everything you and Jeff been doing. Thank you, sir, for being a longtime viewer." He says, "I'm currently looking to get into this whole streaming thing, mostly to fill my time. However, I don't have anything in the way of a good computer. I actually only have a laptop that I use for gaming and everyday needs. I have an HP Pavilion DV6, an Intel Core i5 with Radeon graphics. I am basically just curious if laptops, mine in particular, can handle streaming, and if you have any suggestions for people trying to stream on laptops." The thing that you need to keep in mind when you're streaming on a laptop is that you are really, really constrained in how much you can accomplish, what games you can stream, and if you can even stream at all. You seem to not be using integrated graphics, which means that technically, yes, you can stream. How well is a totally different thing. A very important thing to keep in mind, and what a lot of people that buy gaming laptops don't realize, is that a laptop CPU, even if it has the exact same moniker and everything, is not an equivalent to its desktop counterpart. Okay? So even if you have a real beefy laptop CPU, the equivalent in an actual tower is going to outperform it quite substantially. Now, in your case, with an i5 and stuff, and I don't know what version of Radeon graphics, like I said, the graphics card doesn't matter much except for just the compatibility with OBS, which you should be okay. But again, hard for me to tell until you try it. You're very likely going to be stuck at streaming at 480 or 450. 720 would be kind of difficult to do, especially if you're doing anything outside of a very simple game that's not very CPU intensive, like League of Legends, for example. And you're going to be kind of in a tough place to stream anything outside of that. To answer your question as best as I can, the answer is, assuming you have a decent upload speed, yes, you can stream. Will it look great? Probably not. Will you be able to do HD? Probably not. But OBS is going to give you your best possible outcome. Okay, so until you get to a position where you have an actual tower or even a more beefy laptop, if you have to have a laptop, you're still going to be able to get your best possible outcome out of OBS. So I know I can't give you an exact answer, but hopefully the answer I gave you is good enough that you can at least go from there. There is, of course, no harm in trying. Next question. Danny asks a very succinct question. He says, "Adam, why is it important to have CBR on?" Great question, Danny. The answer to your question lies within the boys at twitch.tv. They, in their new guideline for things that they want you to have your stream be before you are open up to your stream showing up on the mobile version and being able to have ads on it and everything else, certain things will be acceptable before it will even be re-encoded to different resolutions if you're even open to that, so on and so forth. Lots of different things. you have to have CBR on, okay? Has to be turned on. As I mentioned before, CBR is just constant bit rate, and the rate tolerance setting in the advanced tab, which I also covered previously, is the only thing that you really need to mess around with there. If it seems to still be giving you a hard time and Twitch's dashboard is still saying you're not using CBR when you are, in or decrease the tolerance down from 1.0 to 0.9 to 0.8 to 0.7 until Twitch says, fine, I give up. You're actually using CBR. That's all there is really to it. It's just a necessity from Twitch. Many other websites may not require it, but most of them are going to end up requiring it eventually, because what CBR does is it decreases the spikes in data transfer between your stream and Twitch's servers, and then Twitch's servers out to the end user. Because like I mentioned before as well, in a variable bitrate stream, if I was just using this webcam right now, it would only be using probably between 500 and 1,200 kbs to make this scene happen, okay? As soon as I switched it over and played like Need for Speed, crazy fast moving stuff, bitrate's going to skyrocket, and it's going to go down from 500, and suddenly I'm using 4,000 kbs. That spike, even if the line can handle it between the servers and the end user, the viewer, it's still very stressful on those services and can cause lag spikes or stuttering, so on and so forth, because of that spike in data. That's why they put it in place, and that's why it's important to have CBR turned on for your live stream, sir. So, Michael is our next person to have a question here. He says, hello, NovaWar. Hi, Michael. I'm trying to begin streaming as a hobby. It's a great opening sentence. It's not saying I want to stream as a job. It's a bad way to start. But I have some questions that I would like answered by someone who has possibly or probably dealt with such issues. I might be your man. My audio is not that great. Excuse me. My current microphone is a 1990s Radio Shack passive microphone. Congratulations on keeping that antique for so long. What would you recommend a hobbyist streamer like me get for good audio? He's got other questions as well, but I'll start with this one. So I'm using what seems to be a very fancy microphone. It's a USB condenser microphone, which is just a good microphone, essentially. All you need to know, if it has condenser on it, it's going to be better than just a regular ass microphone 9 out of 10 times. Most people are going to point you in the direction of the Blue Snowball. It's like $60 in the States. It's got decent audio. It's got 3 different settings depending on what you want to accomplish with your audio. I would say that's one option. The next step up from that, which is probably going to be between $80 and $100 in the States, you're going to be looking at the Zoom H1 recorder, which is what Jeff is currently using and what I was using before I changed over to this microphone. The beauty of an H1 is that it's actually, like in its name, it's a recorder. Okay, so you can put a SD card in it, and you can record audio with it. You can also plug shotgun mics into it for DSLRs and stuff and use it as a bass recorder, not even using the mic on the recorder itself. Super versatile piece of equipment, and it's still not that expensive. Plus, it's stereo, which is how Jeff and I used to fuck with your heads, and the audio quality is substantially better than the Snowball. The next step up from that would be this microphone here, which is the Audio-Technica AT2020 condenser microphone, which is probably between 100 and 120 or 120 and 140 in the States. You don't really have to get much fancier than this, okay? Especially at a hobbyist level. These are great microphones for podcasting and live streaming. If you can get a mic stand and stuff in, which you should get anyway, and a pop filter is pretty important for almost any microphone you use. Really great microphone, and is the best in the three. Not as versatile as the H1, but if you're just at your desktop, then it doesn't matter anyway. You can go higher than that, and you can do what Man vs. Game does. For instance, you can pick up a condenser microphone and then have actual audio equipment. So he's going to run a condenser mic that he has on his head into a compressor. So when he screams, his voice doesn't blow out the mic, and it's all one level. He's going to run it through. He's going to likely run it through a board as well, a mixer, so he can change his audio and stuff, and then that goes into the computer and is used as an audio source on OBS or XSplit or Wirecast, which I think is what he uses, which is like a $700 professional level streaming software. That is an awfully expensive way of doing it. You don't have to go that far, but I'm just giving you that range, right? So Snowball mic, wouldn't go any lower than that unless you're just going with a game headset, right? And you have a microphone on that, go nuts. Just make sure that it's a decent microphone on the headset. Blue Snowball, Zoom H1, Audio-Technica AT2020, full-blown condenser mic hooked into a compressor and all sorts of other nonsense. Okay? All right. The next part of his question is my current monitor is 1440 by 900 and is thus the default output of my games that I stream. I would like to stream at 720, just like it is the standard, so I notice a large border around the screen capture and have tried to make the border image that will fill in the space. Is it better to try and tweak my monitor resolution so that it will scale to 720 better, or make a nice looking border for my stream? So here's where the issues start to come up. You don't actually have to stream in 720, like I said. People will get black bars when they're watching it. It's not the end of the world, okay? But if you do want it to be 720 and you want to have a nice looking border and stuff, that's also possible and is not a terrible idea, okay? The thing that you want to keep in mind is that when it comes to having borders and extra stuff around the screen, is that you really don't want it to take away from the main video. You don't want it to be super bright, punchy, crazy in your face. You want it to be pretty subdued, maybe have some texture to it, and that's it. Maybe have like your name or something there, some contact information or something like that. Not a lot. You just want to have it there so that it's not just black bars, but the main thing to keep in mind is don't take away from the actual content that you're streaming. Make sure that it's fairly subdued, okay? And other than that, you can do that. I wouldn't worry too much about the black bars though. It's not the end of the world. People might be a little aggravated by it, but as long as your stream looks good, it's not that big of a deal, okay? How do you keep being so upbeat during streaming? Well, if you've been here long enough, anybody who streams as much as Jeff and I do, you're gonna find out that we're human, and we become these snarling, angry bastards that scream at our viewers and lose our shit sometimes, and that just comes with the game, right? Like, that's just the thing. Unless you're only streaming like 3 hours 3 times a week, and you know it's this scheduled thing where you can just put on your face, that's easier to do because it's very short periods of time, right? You're less likely to be burnt out doing it. Jeff and I just do this as a living, and so, you know, it can be more difficult to maintain that for 12 hours a day. But, you know, being upbeat during a stream, you'll notice Jeff is better at it than I am in terms of, you know, continuously talking or something when he's playing a game. I get very quiet when I play most games, but there's no major key to it, right? It's all, if you're talking about just being talkative, not necessarily upbeat, but talkative, there is a fine line between talking for the sake of talking to fill in dead air during a live stream and flavor text kind of thing where you're actually just adding to what's happening in the game at the time. Don't think too much about it, okay? If you have people in your chat, and say you're traveling, say you're playing a game where, you know, it's a big world like an Elder Scrolls game or an MMO, and you're in travel, you're in transit, and there's a lot of dead air, you're not going to be doing anything exciting, you want to talk about something. It's not a big deal. That's a good time to talk about some stuff. Talk about what you noticed in the gaming world today. Maybe there's some news you wanted to talk about. Just see what other people think. Maybe you're going to ask some people if they have anything that they've seen today that they want to talk about, and just start a small conversation, you know, get your chat involved. It's not, you know, it's not a matter of just you carrying it like a comic, you know, a comedic show, and you got to be on stage until the light, you know, turns off and they pull you off stage with a cane, right? Like, that's not what you're there for. You're there to create in my theory, and Jeff's theory as well, a place where you can come and be part of a community and be part of the experience as much as humanly possible. If that involves talking sometimes or all the time, then that's the case, but don't force a talk, because people will notice that you're forcing it and it will be kind of blah. Just do it when you think that you feel like doing it, and when there's an opportunity that it presents itself. Don't worry about the rest. It'll just come with time. Honestly, a lot of it is just getting comfortable in front of other people. A lot of people say, okay, well, for instance, right now there's 230 people watching, right? If you were physically envisioning 230 people sitting in front of you in an auditorium, you'd probably shit yourself, or most people would, right? You're thinking, oh God, I can't even present in front of a class, let alone talk in front of all these people. I'm not even envisioning that there's 230 people right now, although at this point in my career, it wouldn't really bother me all that much. I'm just talking on a one-on-one. If I look over at chat and I say, hey, Spado or Spado, who's been here for a long time, I know this guy, I know his name is in here, I could have a conversation with him, and I'm just talking to him. I'm not talking to the 229 other people. I'm talking to the person, just the one person. And if you treat the camera as the one person you're talking to, then suddenly you become much more comfortable. You don't need to worry about the fact you're not technically talking to a huge group of people. You're talking to small subsets or a single person at a time every time you're talking into the camera. So that is all part of that comfort level that you'll eventually get used to. Speaking of the webcam, he says, do you recommend using a webcam so people can see you? How is your computer set up so that you have a clean wall behind you? Well, I've shown you this room before. Basically, I'm just in an 8x10 room. You know, there's nothing really behind me except for the wall. That's just the room I'm in, right? That's not always going to be the case. Like Jeff's got a huge room behind him. He's in the basement, right? I recommend a webcam for anybody. Don't worry if you think that you're ugly as sin. Don't be concerned about that shit. You know, the only people that are on Twitch to look at attractive people are the people who are on Twitch to watch girls that are getting viewers, usually because they've got their tits out, right? Like, that's, everybody else doesn't really care. They still want to be able to attach a face to a voice most times, right? They still want to have that. The more personal connection you can add into a stream, the better. Because the thing about live streaming, the secret to live streaming, is that it's really, when it comes to creating a community feel, the shit is like the taboo of voyeurism. I let people into my life, into my home. They know my girlfriend. They know my family. They've seen pictures. They've been on live cam with me. I've cooked with them. I've done everything. It's all there. I built furniture. I fixed the world's problems with a hacksaw. You know, and that's the webcam, right? That's the voyeurism. That's the stuff people coming in. People aren't really concerned about how you look. And if they are, just like in real life, who gives a shit? It's not like you're likely to meet any of these people anyway. They're not going to be like, hey, down the street, they're going to be like, hey, you're that guy on Twitch TV I saw. You're one ugly motherfucker. It's never going to fucking happen, right? And you shouldn't ever be concerned about that. If you can't put yourself on a camera, then odds are you're going to find it difficult just in general to be yourself, because if you're concerned about what you're looking like, you're probably also going to be concerned with how you sound, which there's going to be some of that no matter who you are, but the more personal you can make a stream, the better. And that's why almost everybody has a webcam who is successful in the streaming world. Okay? So there you go, Mike. Malicious Mike from chat. That is your answer to your question. Great questions, by the way. Next up, this is a name I'm familiar with. It's Mr. User. I don't even have to look for your username. I know who this is. What's up, Nova Streaming God? Well, I wouldn't put myself there, but I know how to get myself around. I don't know where to put my microphone. You get a Blue Yeti. That is a big-ass microphone. That Blue Yeti. I don't know where to put my microphone. Well, it's... yeah, it sounds good and stuff, but it records my keyboard. Well, mine does as well, which is annoying as fuck. I agree. The keyboard isn't that loud. It's a Logic G15. Oh, you don't even have a mechanical. Well, that's what I'm using over here for my second computer, actually, the G15. I don't know if you can help me with this, but maybe you can show where your mic is. Well, you can see where my mic is. I don't think I need to physically show you, but if you do need it, it's right in this area. Somewhere in between here and here is my microphone. The thing with the Yeti is that I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that you can't mount it to a microphone stand. It is a desktop microphone, right? And so it's going to be prone to picking up keyboard sounds. It's going to be prone to picking up room sound because you're speaking into it from quite a distance. So there's not a lot that you can do, in all honesty, dude. You can prop it up in front of you with something, like I used to do with my microphone. I used to stack, like ghetto as fuck. I used to stack, like I used to do with my webcam. I used to stack, just random boxes up, put it up in front of me, still that I could get my arms around it for the keyboard, but just stack it up. There's not much else that you can do. You can get a different webcam, or a different webcam. You can get a different microphone if you want. Easy to sell a Yeti. So if you want to sell your Yeti and pick up something else that you can mount to a mic stand, or you can get a gaming headset kind of thing, then that's what I would suggest for you to do. And that's all you really can do. Otherwise, there's not much that you can accomplish to kind of fix that issue. Yeah, unfortunately. Love you too, buddy. Also, did you send the posters yet? No, we haven't. You can see the top of one of them below me, that cardboard box. They're still there. Every time Jeff comes over, I just straight up fucking forget to get out the marker and sign them. Don't worry, they're not going anywhere. It's going to be hard for me to forget because they're in the corner of my room and have been for a long time. You will get them, sir. Don't worry. You will get those posters. We have not forgotten entirely, just trying to actually fucking remember at the time when Jeff is here to get those bad boys signed. Okay, so next question from Christine. Christine, I'm not going to say the actual in-chat thing, just knowing who this person is. I know who they are. Says, hello, Adam. Hi, Christine. I have an i7 2600, which is basically the same as mine, except I had the 2700, which is a better bin, which just means for a limited time, they had a bunch of Asians picking out the best chips out of the 2600 series. Yeah, anyway, more money for no reason, but at the time, I was like, yeah, yo, dude, yeah, totally. 6 gigs of RAM and a HD 7450. Streaming Minecraft with OBS, it makes Minecraft suddenly start like crazy. I'm guessing that it is hardware related, as Skyrim doesn't run all too smoothly either, and that's without OBS running. Would hardware upgrade fix the Minecraft problem, and if so, what would you recommend? Okay, so here's the thing about Minecraft. Minecraft is about as well optimized. I don't even have an analogy for that. It's just really shittily optimized. It's also written in Java, which in and of itself is a shitty platform to be writing a game in. So The graphics card for Minecraft is not really a thing. That's not really a huge issue. Minecraft is really CPU and RAM driven. RAM is pretty much for Minecraft the most important thing, and how it uses your RAM and how fast your RAM is. 6 gigs of RAM is a pretty good chunk of RAM. Yeah. Things that you can do in Minecraft. There are ways of forcing Minecraft, and I don't think it's been updated for the main game to do this automatically yet. You're going to have to Google it. I'm so sorry. You can, if you want, try and get in contact with Jaded from Jeff's Minecraft server to have him help you with this. Optimize, you create a script, very simple, and it forces Minecraft to use your RAM more efficiently. That astronomically fucking increases Minecraft performance. It did for me. You can also use, there are optimizations for Minecraft. What's the name of it now? Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But there are optimizations for it that are available to help Minecraft run more smoothly, while also being able to, you know, tweak more graphical settings. What is the name of that friggin' thing? That's gonna bother me. Anyway, my suggestion for you, Aegis, is to either Google like crazy. Optifine, thank you. That's what I'm looking for, Optifine. You want Optifine, and you want, which I think the RAM thing is included in Optifine, so you might be okay with just Optifine. But if you really want to know, talk to Jaded about it, send him a message, and tell him I sent you. And he will help you with that. Minecraft is just an incredibly intensive program. Yeah. Also, again, make sure that with Minecraft you're using window capture or game capture. You're probably going to have to use window capture for Minecraft. And that's all you can do. Minecraft also hates being captured. Fucking hates it. So that's just a very difficult game in general to stream. So you're going to have to optimize and then hope for the best there. Go through the settings and stuff like I showed you today to make sure that your settings are appropriate to your computer and go from there. Your computer, however, should have no issues streaming Minecraft. So 720p at 30 should be cake for your computer. It's just a matter of optimizing Minecraft, okay? Skyrim is also an insane game to try and stream off of one computer, and especially for running a 7450. But on the same token, you should be able to do 720p at 30. You just have to mess with the settings as I explained today before. The big things that you're going to have to be, that are a problem with Skyrim, especially if you have it modded, is your video RAM. Okay, your VRAM, which is your graphics card. How much does it have? Is it a 1 gig card? Is it a 2 gig card? The other thing is that Skyrim is also fairly heavily intensive when it comes to your just plain RAM, especially if you've optimized it at all, or the game's updates I think might have opened it up to using more than just 2 gigs of RAM. Skyrim's just a really hard game to friggin' play and stream. However, just the same, if you're saying that Skyrim doesn't run smoothly even without OBS, that's just your graphics card, most likely. You're just going to have to either upgrade or you're going to have to dial back the graphics. That's all I have to offer you on that. When it comes to Minecraft specifically, you shouldn't have a problem with your computer. It's really just about optimizations, and most of that is just Minecraft. Okay? Next up is a sip of water. Okay. Dear Mr. War, How easy is it to set up a second PC to stream with? Also, how would one go about doing this? So this is what I'm doing currently. This is from my man Adam. Great name, by the way. Good life choice by your parents. Streaming with two computers can be easy. It can also be a giant pain in the ass. Alright? The benefits of two PC streaming, if you can afford to do this, are that one computer takes all the load of the streaming, and the other computer gets to take all of the load of just the gaming. So you get one computer that just gets to think about compressing, and one computer that gets to think about playing the game, and you don't get performance loss on either side, which is friggin' awesome, right? So setting up two PCs for streaming, you're going to need a capture card, one that works within OBS or XSplit. I have not done two PC streaming with XSplit. When I tried to do it, it was a pain in the ass, and getting the assistance from the XSplit team was basically like trying to put your head through a concrete wall successfully. It's just not going to happen. So if you're doing two PC streaming, unless you know how to do it in XSplit, use OBS. It's a little complicated and could be an entire tutorial by itself, but to answer this as quickly as possible, because you just asked how simple it is, it's not that difficult. It just requires more money and a couple of extra changed settings, okay? People have described how to do this on OBS's forums, as well as XSplit's forums. There are nice diagrams available to help you do it more easily, but yes, it is possible. Yes, it is not overly complicated, and the benefits are pretty substantial, okay? Because it basically eliminates, as long as your gaming PC can play whatever games you want at the quality you want, you don't have to worry about that anymore. It's gone. You're okay. You're never going to have to, because you're not streaming at the same time, right? So there's your answer, sir. Stream. I wish the stream is sponsored by OBS, but then again, I think Jim probably wishes that he had enough money to sponsor people. It's not, it's not like, my hands just did the friggin' fart thing. It's not that XSplit's really terrible. It's just that it's not as well optimized. And so for people who are not trying to do very complicated things, if they just want to just stream on, like, maybe they don't have a godlike computer or something, OBS is so much fucking better. And it's not like a subjective thing. It's an objective thing. It's kind of like saying that a BMW 7 Series is better than a 1995 Pontiac Sunfire, right? Nobody is going to sit there and say, holy shit, you're crazy. The Sunfire is just God mode. Ignore the fact that it's the worst rated car of all time. Totally better. Right? It's just there are certain things that OBS just does better. And when it comes to that, it's the core of streaming. It's the getting the video and putting out the video and not being hard on your computer. That OBS does infinitely better than XSplit. And it's free. So it's hard to not suggest that. Anyway, beyond that. This comes from, I don't know if it's Bino or Bino. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry. I just massacred your name. It said, my question for you is the HUD that you use in League. Now, my overlay for League of Legends is what he's referring to. To get that, not yours specifically, do we make them ourselves? If so, in Paint? And how do we use it? Okay, so my overlay for League of Legends, which I think I have on here. And then we're going to minimize that and minimize this. My overlay for League is... Where? It's in here somewhere. There it is. This baby. This is what he's referring to. Alright, so this thing, this overlay, could you do it in Paint? Maybe. It'd be awfully difficult. The I did mine in Photoshop. Okay, you could probably do it in what's the GIMP is the free Photoshop essentially, right? That's what I'm thinking of. You make it yourself. There is no, I think there might be some forums where people have done some basic overlays for League of Legends and StarCraft that you can just use, but you've got to use a PNG. It has to be an alpha channel thing, which means except for the overlay, everything else is alpha channel. It's not a white background, it's not a black background, it's alpha channel, which just means it's see-through. So it's PNG. That's the most important thing. Other than that, you're just adding it to the source on OBS, making sure that it is over top of your webcam in the list. Done. That's it. My overlay is literally, I took a screenshot within League. I then cut out all the bits, erased it all, changed the color, added a couple of little extra bits there. Like I had Xin Zhao and Ash. Walked away. There it is. There's your overlay. So that's what you got to do. Got to do it on your own. Got to put that stuff together on your own terms. Next question comes from my man Nico. Says, hello, Adam. Hello, sir. First off, thank you for this how-to stream. You're quite welcome. Lots of emails come in, so I decided I'd just do this and have some people get learned. It is amazingly helpful, and I will be sure to check it out on YouTube later. Yes, I will have this on YouTube for those of you wondering. It'd be weird for me not to. On to the question. I have a few old games from my youth lying around that I would love to stream. Some of these games have resolution options smaller than my current monitor. In one case, even all the way down to 800 by 600. It's like some putt-putt level shit right there. Should I downscale my stream resolution, or perhaps even my monitor resolution itself, to the max resolution of the game, or will it fit no matter what at all for the, or will it not matter, at all for the stream quality? What would be optimal in each case? Stick with 720 and whatever else, and then when you add a source, the game source or the window or whatever you're using, you can simply just stretch it to fit the screen. Or, like we've mentioned before, you can leave it as regular resolution and then just create an overlay that goes around it so that doesn't stretch it, and leave it like that. Those are your two options. Don't match your stream to it because it's going to look ridiculous. Leave it 720 or 1080, whatever you're using, and then either create an overlay for it or stretch it to fit your screen and leave the black bars and it's whatever. That's what I do. It's what most people do. Yeah, you don't want to mess. You don't want to reduce your stream resolution to match the game. You don't have to do that every time. Not necessary at all, sir. Next question. From a man whose parents chose yet another phenomenal name. Comes from a man Adam. Says, Mr. War. Different question. As some people that are just getting into the streaming and someone that does not have a partnership and people don't get to change the quality, what bitrate would you say is reasonable so as many people can watch the stream without lag as possible? Well, it's hard to answer that question. Netflix does a thing every few years, or did one a few years ago, where they look into, for their service purposes, what the average download speed is of internet service providers and individual households in America. But you're dealing with Europe and Canada and the US and Asia and Australia. They're watching from all over the world, right? So honestly, with Twitch maxing it at 3,500 kbs, even at that, you're not going to alienate that many people. The download speed is 3500 should not be an issue for the majority of people, okay? I would suggest that if I had to pick one number, if you were most concerned with hitting the largest group of people and still maintaining okay quality at 30 frames a second, between 2000 and 2400, there's your range right there. That's what I would choose. That will still give you reasonable quality at 720p at 30 frames a second, and it will get you within the range where most people, regardless of where they are, should be able to experience next to no lag, and shouldn't have an issue because their internet should be able to handle it. Okay, so that would be what I would suggest. Okay, because the thing that you want to keep in mind is a couple of things. You know, whatever somebody else says, you know, the average household is X speed. You have to think of the people who are watching a video game live stream. They're usually the people who are hardcore gamers themselves and invest in better internet 9 out of 10 times. So you're likely to not have the issue of dealing with people who are operating on DSL unless they're stuck with that and they have no other options. But again, the majority who are watching Twitch streams are likely to have very good internet, and their lag is more likely to come from the Twitch side than it will be because you're streaming at a certain bit rate. Okay? Next question comes from BJ. Hoi, hoi, hoi. He says, thanks for streaming tips. You're welcome, sir. What is the preferred software for iMac 2012? I can't remember if Jim has Mac done yet. I think he does. OBS might have a Mac client. If not, I know he's working on it right now, as well as Linux. He's been recoding for those two platforms if he hasn't already finished Mac. I can't remember if he's done Mac and just working on Linux now, or if he's working on Linux and Mac, but it's coming either way. If you can't get either one of those, if XSplit doesn't work and OBS doesn't work, then I'm not sure what's left for you. You could maybe use Flash Media Live Encoder. Google will be your friend there, but I'm not entirely sure if they have the Mac client for OBS yet. Easy to find out. Just go to obsproject.com, and that should be able to tell you pretty easily. Excuse me. Next question comes from a man, David. It says, "Hey Adam." Hello, sir. I know using my real name email here, but whatever. Hey, it's okay. Anywho, I bought a Live Gamer Portable last summer because it was on sale, hoping to use it for streaming and capturing gameplay stuff. However, it looks like OBS does all of that just fine for the PC, and my PS4 can directly stream to Twitch. Did I blow my money on that or what? The Live Gamer Pro comes with some streaming software built in. OBS seems easier because it is. The two programs seem to conflict with each other. My PC isn't that great. A 2007 Core 2 Duo Quad, which should be able to do decently well with a GTX 465, another decent card. I've been meaning to get a much better PC, however the PS4 was much cheaper option, so I went for that. Hey, that's perfectly acceptable, dude. Sony said that they will enable capture card support for a future date. They have said that, yes, because Xbox is doing it. But in the meantime, I feel like I've blown $200. I just want to stream, or at least record, Final Fantasy 14 and possibly StarCraft 2 off of my PC. And perhaps build a small following because the job market sucks right now and I love gaming. Okay, so my first question is the Live Gamer Portable HDMI input-output, or is it USB? Because if it's USB, then it's not going to work with OBS, as far as I know. No USB capture devices work with OBS at the moment. I don't know if Jim ever plans on changing that. So, for instance, your hop hogs and stuff like that doesn't work. Okay, so it's both. All right. Well, you didn't really blow $200 necessarily. Oh, it does work with Avermedia's. Zeiss is a good guy to listen to, by the way, as he is from He is a prominent member over there of the OBS chat. Yeah, he didn't really blow $200 necessarily. Zeiss, is it a... Can it be used as a pass-through? So could he in the future use it to stream his PS4 as a pass-through to his computer? To OBS? Because if it works as a pass-through, then you're in the clear. And it's not a waste of $200. Because if you can use it as a pass-through, which if Zeiss is referring to when he says the stream engine decodes it, or AverMedia is, so that OBS can use it, if that's the case, and it can be used as a pass-through, then you did not waste $200. Because PS4 stream quality, while not bad, is not great. Also, the mic quality is not going to be fantastic. You have no power over the audio volumes necessarily right now. At this time, you don't. You know, it's not bad that it's there, but if you have the ability to use it as a pass-through, meaning you plug your PS4 into the Live Gamer Portable and your Live Gamer Portable into your PC somewhere, and it shows up as a monitor or something, and then OBS can pick it up, then you're in the clear. And you can use that as a pass-through, at which point you can, then get a better stream quality, because the quality will be better. You'll be able to use overlays, you'll be able to use your own PC microphone, you'll be able to use all of that stuff. So, the answer is you might not have wasted it, but as I cannot 100% guarantee it works as a pass-through, I'm not 100% sure. Either way, if you're just doing local recording, also having that is not a bad thing either, because using that as a local recorder is also going to likely be a better option than the console stuff. Okay, so Zeiss is saying yes, it does work as a pass-through. Boom! My man covering my butt. I haven't got my hands on a Live Gamer Portable, so I don't know. So, there you go. You did not waste your money. You can live stream as a pass-through with your PS4, which means you can hook it up into your computer, and OBS will pick it up directly like I'm doing with my two computers right now. Which means you'll get better stream quality, better audio, ability to use overlays, webcams, the whole 9 yards. Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. You did not waste your $200, sir. You're off to the races. Next question comes from a man, Preston. It says, hello, Adam. Actually, it said, hey, I lied to you. Hey, Adam. Just wondering if you answered my question from before about growing a community, specifically how to attract more viewers on YouTube and your stream if you were just starting out. Did you just ignore this and we'll watch, if you did, just ignore this and we'll watch the VOD. Ah, right, yes. X-Pop and his fiance. Alright guys, so listen carefully. The secret to growing a community, consistency and not being an asshole. It's a very complicated formula. Seriously though, basically growing a community on YouTube and or Twitch is as straightforward as being consistent, as providing good quality, meaning your audio and video is good. It does not have to be God tier, but it just doesn't, it doesn't want to be a slideshow or stained glass, so fragmented looking, or sound like you're using, like our other friend, a 1990s microphone. That's basically what all you have to do. It's just consistency. And as long as you approach it from the standpoint as a hobby first, and you're not worried about money, and you're not worried about all that stuff, then you'll be able to be yourself and not be jaded as fuck, right? And you'll be able to just have fun with it. And as long as you're having fun with it in whatever capacity, and you're being consistent and you have good quality, the people that are watching you are going to be into it as well. The big thing about Twitch that has an advantage over YouTube right now is that YouTube sucks. In that YouTube only really props up channels that are making YouTube money. It used to be easier as a new channel if you had like a video go, you know, more viral and stuff, to show up at the top of certain sections of YouTube, and it was easy to get to, and everybody had it at their fingertips, and that's how LAGTV got big. Or got to its size. LAGTV is not huge, but it got you know, sizable, right? So Twitch is where I would put most of my efforts. YouTube, put some effort, but you know, Twitch is a better place to go. Also, because you get to be very one-on-one with your viewers, right? You get to create a relationship with your viewers. You get to learn to know them by name. They'll show up more often. You get to be very personable. You get to show people your personality directly right off the bat, right? That's a really big key point that a lot of streamers don't necessarily try and tackle. It doesn't have to be that way for everybody who streams, because obviously we've seen lots of people who stream that had tons of huge viewers, you know, because they're just incredibly skilled or they got really great boobs. But that's for everybody else just getting on the grind, and they just want to grow a community. It's about being yourself, it's about doing what you love, it's about being consistent, and it's about providing decent quality stuff. That's like the most generic answer of all time that you've probably heard 1,000 times over. The reason that's the case is because that's how it is. There's very few people in the exception where they just get to skyrocket for various reasons, right? You think I'm joking when I say boobs? I am not. I have seen girls enter the Twitch realm who are moderately attractive and have, you know, they just fucking get their tits out, and like I mean their webcam's like zoomed in. They're not even trying. Like their webcam's like zoomed in on their chest and shit. And they go from no viewers to like 4,000 viewers in the span of 2 weeks, and they get a subscriber button, and then they start making like $3 grand a month off of Twitch. Not because they're good at streaming, not because they're personable with the chat, not because they have any major personality, but because guys have this thing, which the majority of people watching Twitch, where, oh my god, unicorn, girl gamer, slightly attractive, has nice boobs, right? So you think I'm joking? I'm not joking. So your fiance might actually have an easier time than you will if she's getting into streaming. So that's your thing. Speaking of long-time relationship women, mine just walked into the room. How was work, dear? Good. Good? You cold?
I'm not blown away outside.
You getting blown away outside? I know, it's windy, isn't it? Little you probably stumbling all over the place trying to get here in one piece.
I was waiting, I was like...
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Oh. I just got your second message. That's a little late.
Good job.
No, like it just showed up on my phone. 20 minutes late.
Good job, phone.
Good job, phone. Well done, phone. Frenchie says hi.
Hi, Frenchie.
He can't. You gotta come over here and like say it into the microphone. Here, come here. Come over here and say it into the microphone. Say hi to Frenchie.
Hi, Frenchie.
Better.
Sorry.
He'll actually hear that one. And come give me a kiss. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the answer to your question, sir. Hopefully that is what you were looking for.